Is your revenue stuck and you're not really sure what to do next to get it unlocked? Well, I'm going to show you a 15-minute per quarter process that's going to help you identify the one single thing you should do to unlock your revenue in your business. So guys, I'm going to dive in. I call this process the revenue unlock. And I just got off a call with our Epic program members, our highest level clients in the company that I run called Carrot. And we have clients in there running 8-figure companies, 6-figure companies. And this really spans all sizes of company. Now, the problems that you might be running into that makes you feel, that the thing that this is going to help you unlock, you're probably going to be running into a spot where, man, you hit a revenue slowdown or you have a big goal, but you're not 100% confident what part of your marketing or sales process you should actually optimize, right? You might be looking at it going, well, maybe I need to adjust my ads, or maybe it's the phone calls, I need to get my closing better, or maybe it's the lead to deal ratio. And you're sitting there kind of shotgun approaching your plan and going, well, maybe I need to do all of them, right? And what happens is we start to do some of these efforts, making our marketing, our revenue funnel better, but it doesn't move the needle. And then we start to get more busy, try more things, and we start to get really defeated because the things we're doing to get our revenue to grow aren't really moving the needle. And there's a concept I'm going to introduce to you called the theory of constraints. And the theory of constraints, just like this picture that we've got here on my iPad, it's a concept that basically says there's, like if you look at a conveyor belt, or if you look at a manufacturing process, or in this case, a revenue model, right? Your flow of revenue. There's always going to be one slowest moving part in there. If you picture a Honda manufacturing plant, they're making a Honda car, and there's one part of the manufacturing plant, this part right here, that has a slow moving part. Maybe it can only produce 50 pieces per hour. Okay, let's say this can produce 50 pieces per hour. Let's say this over here can do 75, that can do 75. Let's see, that can do 75. Upstream, let's say this is 80 pieces per hour, and that's 70. So a lot of people might look at this and the manufacturing process and go, well, what do we tackle first? Well, you wouldn't know unless you looked at the theory of constraints. What is the one single constraint that if you unlock that thing, it's going to unlock the rest of the flow and make the production better? You have a goal over here of some sort of number per hour. Let's say your goal is 75 of those units per hour as a manufacturing plant. I'm going to relate this to real estate investors and any business here in a second. If it's 75 an hour is what my goal is, and this one can do 75, that one can do 75, that one can, that one can't, or that one can, these two can't, which one's going to unlock the most? Well, if I unlock this one here, that's only going to give me an extra 5 units per hour. But the problem is, even if I unlock that, this can only do 50. So me unlocking that to get that to 75 actually isn't going to do anything at all. That's going to be one of those projects that is busy work that doesn't move the needle at all. So if we know that if I can get this from 50 to 60, that's going to add 10 incremental units to what we're able to produce, because my goal is 75 an hour, but I'm only able to produce what my slowest moving part can produce. So that quarter, I'm going to focus my efforts on the slowest moving parts. Now, let's relay this to marketing. Let's relay this to you as a real estate investor, you as a real estate agent, an entrepreneur, a mom and pop shop across the street here in Roseburg, Oregon. How do you use that theory of constraints to figure out that revenue unlock in your business? Well, the first thing, I'm going to give you a few principles here. The very first thing is I want you to do this every single quarter, okay? Every single quarter, you pull up the revenue pipeline analyzer or write this out on a piece of paper, and you say, let me figure out where we are right now. Where are we with our deals or closed clients? And then work the whole pipeline backwards to figure out that constraint. Number 2, the most important thing is a lot of entrepreneurs I talk to, a lot of small business owners, they don't have their numbers down, right? You don't even know what your numbers are. I was on a call with one of our high-level clients, and he said, man, I don't know what some of these numbers are in my business. So that's actually good news, because now you get to go make that your very first project, is to go solve that problem, okay? So the first concept, or the third concept, after you identify those numbers, you want to identify what are the steps, what are those points during that flow that turn into a deal or that turn into a client. I want you to map them out and put them on the paper here. I've got another worksheet you can see here where if you're any type of business, you could map it out. It could be, hey, they're a client here, and then you work back all of your steps. We're going to stay on the real estate side of things here right now, because that's who we primarily focus with at my company, Carrot. But then the next thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that you're actually tracking those on a scorecard. If you don't have the numbers of how many offers you've made or how many contracts you've locked down from those offers or how many leads you got or what traffic came to your website or phone calls came from your marketing or how many deals you got, then that's your very first action item. But let's make an assumption you have that data. What you need to do next is you need to work backwards. And this is a concept in marketing that is completely foreign for so many people, is working backwards in your marketing. And as you follow me in my YouTube channel, hit subscribe on this YouTube channel or hit subscribe and follow me on Instagram. You're going to hear me talking about the marketing side of things a lot as it relates to working backwards. So when we're analyzing this pipeline, you start from the end and then you work this way and you fill in the numbers. So let's say our numbers are this. Let's say it was 10 deals in that quarter. I'm just using random numbers here. Let's say I got 20 contracts in place and 10 of those closed, meaning 50% closed and 50% didn't. Not saying these are good or bad numbers, just using round math for illustration. Let's say I made an offer on every single property I went and saw. So let's say we had 100 appointments and we made 100 offers. We make an offer on every single property we saw, and only 20% of those offers turned into contracts, which is a lower an offer to conversion rate. Okay. Now let's say for appointments, let's say 1 in 10 leads turns into an actual appointment. Now that number, once again, is not a real number. We're just using math. So that means I had to have 1,000 leads to turn into 100 appointments. And let's say we're talking online marketing. That website converts a visit to a traffic to a lead at 20%. 20% of everyone who lands on that website becomes a lead. So that means that's a lot of traffic right here, right? So what is that number? I think that's 1,000 to the magic of TV math. That'd be about 5,000 people that need to land there. Okay. So now that we've got our numbers in place, we need to put our percentages and we need to put our benchmarks. We can't really know where the constraint is in our marketing or revenue flow if we don't know if that stage, if we're performing well against others or not. So now we're going to come here and put our actual numbers. This is the actual conversion ratio between each stage. So this is a 50% conversion. That's a 20% to that stage. It's 100% there. That's 10% there. Okay, that's 20% there. So those are my actual numbers. Now, we want to then grab benchmarks. So you can Google for benchmarks. You can ask other people in your market what their conversion rates are from step to step. You can go to your mastermind. You can go to Facebook groups. You can go into our Epic group here at Carrot, and we provide that benchmark data. But I'm going to put down some pretend benchmark data. Let's say contracted deals is about 75%, which is pretty darn close in the real estate investor world. Okay, now let's say offers to contracts is 80%. Let's say over here, appointments to offers, 100%. You should always be making offers at 100% of every single appointment you see. Leads to appointments, I'm just going to make up a number. Let's say that's 25%. And then over here on the traffic to leads, let's say that one is actually 15%. Okay, so what I do now on the quarterly basis, I'm going to go through and I'm going to red, yellow, green how we're performing on each one of those stages. I'm going to once again work backwards, start from deals and work my way to left. Okay, so this one here, my actual is 50%. The benchmark is 75%, meaning, man, the good players in my market or the industry are converting 75% of them. I'm going to make this a yellow or a red. You get to determine if that's a red, which is really bad, needs fixed, or a yellow, which means, hey, it needs some attention. Over here next now, man, I'm really performing bad on this one here, the offers to contracts. I'm going to make that a red. Okay, that definitely needs some attention. And then over here, we've got some greens coming up. So we're winning here. We're doing good there on the appointments to offers. Over here, that's another red. Let's say actual leads to appointments conversion rates low. And then we're outperforming on the website conversion rate because you're using Carrot, and Carrot converts amazingly well. So you're getting a good boost there. So now that we've got those benchmarks in place, we need to pick one of these. What is the slow moving piece? And this is where you might have to do a little bit of math, okay? So you might want to look at this. And I always start on the right and move your way left and ask, if I were to move this number from 50% to, let's say, 70% or 75%, what's that going to do to my revenue? And so do that quick math, and let's say rather than 10, it ended up being 15, and that's an extra 5 deals. If my average profit per deal is $20,000, that's an extra $100,000 that this unlocks if I do that, okay? So it's a $100,000 potential if I'm able to go from the 50% to the 75%. You go down here and you just keep on doing this left, right to figure out what is that revenue potential there? Okay, so on this one here, man, I don't really know if I can get it right to 80%, but maybe what if I could even get it to 50%? Okay, so now I'm going to move that from 20 to 50. So that adds an extra 30, right? So now I'm going to go 20 to 50, and that adds an extra 30 leads that I can now go into there. And you're going to see how does that now play out into deals. So spend 15, 20, 30 minutes doing that math. I can promise you it's going to make an amazing, amazing difference for you. Work that all the way. And then what I want you to do is pick the 1 or 2 spots that have the biggest opportunity for providing that revenue unlock. And I want you to write down the improvements or the improvement ideas that you want to start to put down to work on that quarter. So let's say that this one had the biggest revenue unlock for you. If you got that from 20 to 50%, not really hitting up to the benchmark, but you improved it a lot, that was going to be the biggest revenue difference. I want you to write down your top 3 ideas. What are the top 3 potential improvements? Or if you don't know them, tap into your mentor or others in the market or a mastermind or a coaching group like Epic and ask others, hey, guys, my offer to contract ratio is 20%. Man, I know it should be closer to 80. What are you guys doing on your offers? Maybe I'm offering too little and the market has passed me up. So write down your top 3 ideas. Okay, and same thing down here in revenue per deal. You can write down what is my revenue per deal. Maybe others in the market as wholesalers or flippers or an agent, maybe their profit's 20% higher. Write that down as a benchmark. Maybe theirs is 25 grand on average and yours is sitting here at 20, right? And so we want to maybe add a little bit there. Write down your top 3 ideas. The guidance I'm going to give you here is this. As you go into every quarter, I want you to pull up this revenue pipeline analyzer. I want you to spend the 30 minutes going through it. I want you to pick one single thing that quarter that you're going to focus on improving. Once you've nailed that constraint and you've unlocked that constraint, then you do it again and you go back to this and you say, what's the right next thing? When you stack those bricks, y'all, that's where momentum comes. That's where you start to see things start to go like this rather than like this, where a lot of people have the up and down because you're inconsistently targeting what the heck your priority should be for that quarter. Instead, we want to stack the bricks and target the right next thing, so that takes us and builds momentum. All right, guys, so let me kind of recap the principles here. The first thing is you need to recognize that there is a flow for your deals. Whether you're an HVAC person or you're a CPA or you're a real estate investor or real estate agent, there's a flow. Start and work backwards. That's concept number 2. Start with right there, go, okay, what is my average profit per client? And then go, how many deals did I get? And then what's the very next stage? Before a deal happens, what's the next stage before that? Before that stage happens, what happens? What happens? List them all out. And then concept number 3 is go get the data. Make sure you have that data in a scorecard somewhere so you know what that is. Concept number 4 now, guys, is benchmark it. Okay, once you have yours laid out and you have your conversion rates between the stages laid out, then go find out what is good in your industry or your market for those. That's where you have to do a little bit of work, tap into some searching or talking to some other people and seeing where theirs are. And then the 5th thing is you identify the one single biggest constraint, make that your number one project to unlock revenue this quarter, finish it, drive that revenue, and then pick it up and do it all over again. If you guys like this type of content, go check it out, trevormauch.com. That's Trevor, MAUCH.com. That's my personal site. I have all kinds of information there. Subscribe here on YouTube or Instagram as well. And share this up with someone that's on your team or someone in a mastermind or group that you're in that you think can benefit from this. One of the greatest things you can do for payment on this is just to share it with other people. That's why I do what I do, is to help you build a business of freedom and impact, and I'm passionate about it, y'all. All right, guys, use a revenue unlock. Grab it. If you want this worksheet, actually, I haven't even put this out publicly. Comment below in this video, whether it's on IG or Facebook or YouTube or Facebook. Comment below that you want the revenue analyzer worksheet. You want the revenue unlock worksheet, and we'll find a way to get it to you if there's enough comments on there. All right, guys, comment below, revenue analyzer worksheet. We'll make it happen. We'll see you guys tomorrow.